I totally apologize. I'm trying to finish up my cereal. Who don't like Fruity Pebbles, right? Fruity Pebbles, always good, always good. So, actually got some stuff I was going to show you guys today. I think it'd be pretty interesting. I was looking through my labs and I was like, what else could we actually add? So, we're going to build upon what we were doing last night in the lab that we built. Just going to give you guys a quick rundown. We'll just go ahead and give you a little sneak peek here, see what we're doing here. I'm going to do the entire screen. So this is what we're actually going to be installed. Well, sorry, show you this one right here. So I was looking up some extra labs and I was like, you know what? We don't have WordPress. And I was like, WordPress is pretty popular. It's a CMS. So pretty popular website platform. So I was like, let's see if we could got. I know we got some images. We could use probably like Docker images and stuff like that. So let's just break notification. Sorry about that. We don't need that notification. So I started looking up some Googling, right? So I found a WordPress host server. Okay. I was like, well, you know what? That could actually work. However, I came across in Hub. If you look here, this vulnerable pen testing lab environment. And I was like, we covered some of this yesterday with some of the OWASP and all that, um, top tens. On this lab, they actually have a WordPress. I was like, you know what? This has pretty much a whole bunch of extra labs that we can add to. It's because I'm trying to, like I said, make a platform that we're going to be able to play with all across the board. So if you guys realized yesterday, if we look here, okay, if we look here, this is what we added yesterday. So we put in Metasploitable 2, and then we added Metasploitable 3, right? Then we put into Windows Server 2019, so we'll have an Active Directory to play with. So I was like, you know, we can add some more Linux applications or web applications because we don't really have any, and some with SQL databases and all that. That's what I was going to do with WordPress. But what happened is I stumbled across this. So this is from Hub. It's a little bit older, but it's 2021. It's not super old. But it's got a whole bunch of other applications that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about these. They're a little bit older, but I'll break down and describe what each one does. Okay. If you look here, here's the image. You see it's 2.5 gigs big. Okay. When you unzip it, it's about 10 gigs. And I unzipped it and put it in a folder. So what this is, it's a vulnerable pen testing lab environment. Okay. Here's our username, administrator, and our password. VPLE is an intentionally vulnerable Linux virtual machine. This VM can be used to conduct security training, test security tools, and practice common penetration testing labs. And VPLE, bunch of labs, only run in VMware. Please don't run in VirtualBox. Now I'm going to show you. There was a situation that I had. It's not a hard fix, but just in case you do encounter this error, because I was like, ah, man, it's gonna there might be an error after you download this image, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. Well, when you download the image, you might try to open it up in VMware. If you're running an older version of VMware than what this was created, you might get an error saying it can't support this because it was created in a different version of VMware. So what we need to do is we're going to go and you're just going to change one line on the configuration file, which is called a vmx.vmx file. And then once you change that and you save it, it'll open and then you won't have any issues. And I'll show you that here in just a second. But I just want to show you what's in this VM, right? We've got web, damn vulnerable web application, right? That's installed. We got Matilda. So there's Matilda 2. You'll see what each one is. There's WebGo. We got BWAP, Juice Shop, Security Ninjas, and WordPress. And that's mainly what we wanted. But I was like, oh, well, if we can get all these, it's great. And if you see, this is the example of the IP address, and this is the port that it's running on. Okay. This is how you be able to open up each one. It comes with a PDF, and I'll show you right here. It comes with it after you download it. So it tells you all about the labs. And that's what I want to step through with you. But before, I just want to tell you about the VMX file that I was talking about. Okay. So here, this is your virtual machine. Down here, it's 2.5 gigs in the zip file, the networking, all that. That's some screenshots. Okay. So after you download it and you extract it out, I save mine in this folder. So just to show you here, go to this PC, come back down here, right here. This test lab that I created up here, I extracted out. See, this one I downloaded, I extracted it here. Okay, so it's 10.4 gigs after you extract it. So if we come here, come in here. So if you guys also want to, there is a README file. So you got a README right here. You can read. This is the PDF that I'm about to show you guys in a second. But this is the file that you're going to change. You're going to go VPLE, open it up right here. See here, this VMX file. This is going to be the disk image, okay? But this is our configuration file. So what you're going to do is you can change it in any editor you want. I'm using Sublime Text. You could use Visual Studio Code or VS Code, whatever you want to do, right? Or you can change it in WordPad, Notepad++, whatever. So look, right click, and you're just going to go open with. So if we see here, see, I got Sublime Text here, or I can open it with, so I can pick any other little app I want, right? See, I can also edit it with Notepad, so you can choose whatever you want. So we'll just do Notepad++, okay? I'm going to show you mine was already changed. If you look at the third line, and if you can't find, let's say it's a longer file, you can go to the find, right? When you're going to check for something, right? So it'd be like Control F. I think that's what it is in Notepad++, not sure, but usually it's Control F to search or find. You just type in HW, but if you notice, it's the third line. Virtual HL, this LHW version. It was set to 18. Okay, that's the version of VMware that it was created in. All you have to do is change it to your version. I'm running an older version, which was 15. So all I did, I changed this to 15, as you see right here. You're going to hit File, and then you save it, right? Once it's saved, it's done. Then all you have to do is once you download this, you click the VMX file. It'll automatically open up in VMware. See, it'll open up here, and then it'll ask you, did you copy this file? Just put, and if you don't know, just put I copied it, and then it'll automatically open up. And as you see right here, this is the VM, and I just want to double check here because I just installed this. If you come to settings on all my virtual machines, I like to do this, make sure they're all on the same network. Okay. Let's say we got one network adapter that gets out to the internet. So what I like to do is I'm just going to add, we can actually change this, but I'm just going to add another network adapter. Okay. And then on this network adapter, I'm going to change this to custom VMnet. I want to put VMnet1 host only. And the reason why I want to do that, that's how I got my Kali configured. That's going to be our attack device. Okay. You just want to make sure they're on the same network. So we hit OK. Saves that. Give it a second. As you see, the VM's updating itself. Once it gets done, it'll save the configuration. You won't have to worry about that again. And then I just want to show you what each one of these labs is going to be able to set up. So say we're restoring our virtual machine back to its state. And now if you see, it's back on. All right. But now come here, go to settings, just to verify everything's saved correctly. As we see, we got a VMNet, right? That's all we need. You can leave everything at default settings. 1 gig, 2 processors, 20 gigs of hard drive space. Not going to really need that much. Then hit OK. Okay. Here's my Kali. Now I have it turned on. Symphonos 2. This is the walkthrough that I've created. I might actually go through a little bit of that after I explain this. And then like I said, we have Metasploitable 2, Metasploitable 3, and Windows Server 2019 that we created, and we made an Active Directory and we made it compromised. So now we've got plenty of other attack surfaces that we can play around with on Active Directory. So right now, we're making a nice little attack playground or lab environment that we can learn and play with. Okay. So just to give you an idea what we've got going here, we'll go through damn vulnerable web application. Now the PDF is going to talk about this too. I'm just going to show you the sites and links that they're at. So this is the GitHub repo. See? The damn vulnerable web application is a PHP MySQL web application that is damn vulnerable. Its main goal is to be an aid for security professionals to test their skills and tools in a legal environment. See what we're doing? We're trying to create a lab environment that we can test and play in, a little playground, right? That we can sit and break, do whatever we want. And we do not have to worry about doing anything illegal. It's all in a lab environment, right? It's all on our network. We're being able to set everything up the way that we want. So, if you look here, to aid security professionals and to test their skills and tools in a legal environment, help web developers better understand the process of securing web applications, and to aid both students and teachers to learn about web application security in a controlled class environment. Now, again, some of this might be, I don't really know how to do any of this. That's perfectly fine because I'm making classes that during the courses we'll take, we're going to be using a lot of these labs. So therefore, I'm just kind of showing you ahead of things that we will be encountering, and we will have a full environment. So now you don't have to say, well, I don't have anything to test my skills on. You're going to be able to test your skills. And we're going to have hands on applications, which will be these labs. So the aim of DVWA is to practice some of the most common web vulnerabilities with various levels of difficulty with a simple, straightforward interface. Please note there are both documented and undocumented vulnerabilities with this software. This is intentional. You're encouraged to try and discover as many issues as possible. So again, we're going to be able to, you can explore to your heart's content, and maybe you might stumble across some other exploit that nobody's uncovered. And we're going to be able to do our own write-ups, and you're going to share them on your own blogs that you're going to create. Again, all the resources I'm going to share and give you the videos. The next application that you see that was in the list, if we look right here, well, that was damn vulnerable web application, is Matilda. So if we come up here, the second application is this one. This is the GitHub repo. Now, this is if you wanted to install these individually, you could do that right here from GitHub. The thing is, what's great with this VM that we just set up is that it's all included, all right? So OWASP Matilda 2. OWASP Matilda 2 is a free, open source, deliberately vulnerable web application designed for web security enthusiasts. It serves as a target for learning and practicing web security skills. Matilda can be easily installed on Linux and Windows systems using LAMP, WAMP, and ZAMP. Now, the thing is, it's a lot. It's, it's okay to do it that way. It's an old school way of doing things. But the thing is, with Docker or with VMs, it's just a lot easier to spin something up. However, if you do want to get the experience of actually setting up a server and being able to set up what to say, manually, you could do this on a Windows machine, okay? Because even with WordPress, there is another article I can show you guys on how I used to set these up by hosting XAMPP or WAMP or LAMP, whatever. We used to do that. Virtual machines just way much faster and easier. So if you notice here, additionally, it comes pre-installed on Samurai WTF or OWASP BWA and the existing version of the uploaded on these platforms with dozens of vulnerabilities and hints to guide the user. Matilda provides an accessible web hacking environment suitable for labs, security enthusiasts, classrooms, CTS, and vulnerability assessment tool targets. It has been widely used in graduate security courses, corporate web security training, and as an assessment target for vulnerability assessment software. OWASP Matilda 2 provides a comprehensive platform for learning and practicing web security techniques in a controlled environment. So, again, another great resource that we're going to be able to use and play around on. The next one that will be coming up is called WebGo. Another GitHub repo. We could do this manually, but again, we did it all right here. If you see, all right here in this virtual machine. It's all pre-installed, right? All we have to do is go to the IP addresses, and I'll show you a little bit on this one. I'll show you the little PDF that they gave us. So again, we'll look at this one. WebGo, a deliberately insecure web application. Now, there's a reason why I'm focusing a lot on web applications, because with apps, they're more dominantly right now. And again, we'll learn some API hacking. We'll get into that a little bit later. But again, once we go through these platforms and we get to test and explore, you're going to get a solid understanding of web applications. And we might actually create a few that we can make vulnerable ourselves. And you can test it just like a developer would. So we'll be doing some DevOps as well. The WebGoats is a deliberately insecure web application maintained by OWASP, designed to teach web application security lessons. This program is a demonstration of common server-side application flaws. The exercises are intended to be used by people to learn about application security and penetration testing techniques. Warning, while running this program, your machine will be extremely vulnerable to attack. That's why we're running this in a virtual environment. Because again, they're going to be vulnerable on purpose, right? We want to be able to break it. So that's why we want that. Now, again, we're not going to run this in a production environment. And that's a thing too. If you're going to run it on your own local host, so when they're talking about XAMPP and all that, you want to make sure that if you're going to have it reach out to the internet or get any information, you better harden your local host, whether your firewall. So that's why I'm trying to say it's a lot easier to just do this in a virtual environment. So therefore, it can call out to the internet. It can we can do multiple attacks on it in a controlled environment. And if this thing was to get loose or do something, it doesn't matter. It's in the virtual machine. And we've got it separated and segmented off of our physical network. That's why when we set it up in that VM network. So again, it's still attached to my physical network, but it would have to break out of the VM. I'm not going to say there is ways this could happen, but we're locking it down as secure as we can. Okay. There's some other stuff we could do, but that would be a little overkill. And what to say, it's out of the scope of what I'm trying to teach here, just with the fundamentals. So as we see here, WebGoat's default configuration binds to the local host to minimize the exposure. There's another little warning, blah, blah, blah. Gives you an idea what it looks like. So that's WebGoat, okay, modern REST framework. The next one we'll see is called BWAP. So this BWAP install is another OWASP application, but it's called or Buggy Web Application. It's a free open source, deliberately insecure web application. It helps security enthusiasts developers and students to discover and to prevent web vulnerabilities. BWAP prepares one to conduct successful penetration testing and ethical hacking projects. What makes BWAP so unique? Well, it's over 100 web vulnerabilities. So this would definitely keep us. Some are very simple exploits. Some go a little bit deeper. But again, we can daisy chain exploits, right? So therefore, we can hit it with multiple exploits. And now you can see what it will actually do to the application. How we can change things, right? How we can look at logs, how we can extract information from it, right? How we can play with API keys. So again, there's multiple things that we could do, and that's what's fun about this. So therefore, you're going to see a lot of different techniques. And again, if you take your notes and stuff, you'll be like, oh yeah. And again, maybe we won't use all 100 techniques, but again, we will explore as far as we could take it. Okay. BWrap is a PHP application that uses MySQL database. It can be hosted on a Linux or Windows with Apache 2S or Apache 2S and MySQL. It can be installed with WAMP or XAMPP. Another possibility is to download the BBox, a custom Linux VM pre-installed by BWAP. And again, this is already installed in our VM, so we don't have to do any of this stuff manually. That's why I like the VM. It's an all-in-one, right? The next tool that we're going to have here is OWASP, the juice shop. If you look at OWASP Juice Shop, it's probably the most modern and sophisticated and secure web application. It can be used in security training, awareness demos, CTFs, and as a guinea pig for security tools. Juice Shop encompasses vulnerabilities from the entire OWASP top 10. And again, we can keep talking about this OWASP, but I just want to show you what this means. This is the OWASP top 10, okay? The OWASP Top 10 is a standard awareness document for developers and web application security. It represents a broad consensus about the most critical security risks to web applications. Okay. So if you look through it, globally recognized by developers as the first step towards more secure coding. Top 10 web application security risks. So if you see, this is 2017. This is updated to 2021. Now, each year, some of these stay the same, and then sometimes they will move up and down the ladder. And then sometimes we get completely brand new vulnerabilities that we've never, well, I'm not saying we've never seen before, but it'd be like, that are very, very interesting. Okay. New techniques on the way things can be done. If you see here, 2021, if you notice here, the top issue that they were having was the broken access control, right? Then we have cryptographic failures, injection, insecure design, security misconfiguration, which is very common, vulnerable and outdated components, like people that don't update their packages, identification and authentication failures, not using 2FA, software and data integrity failures, security logging and monitoring failures. And what's cool is when you do look at these lists, you can see things that the way that the landscape shifts, right? And new technologies. And then even looking at from the hacker's perspective, why are they going after certain platforms? And again, they follow the money, right? Which is popular, which is more in demand. Everybody likes the new shiny objects, right? And then people start implementing it, right? So if you see here, 2017 was like SQL injection, but in some type of injection. Broken authentication was number two. Sensitive data exposure, XML, external entities, broken access controls, security misconfiguration, cross-site scripting, insecure deserialization or deserialization, sorry, using components with known vulnerabilities, insufficient logging and monitoring. So again, it always gives you a nice little list, and it stays updated, like I said. So you can look and see what each one does here, see? So if you want to read more about it. So let's say the broken access control. If you click on here, it'll break it down, give you more information about what it is and why it's popular, how to prevent these certain types of attacks, and example attack scenarios. So we're definitely going to be touching on OWASP, and we'll be using a lot of their resources. And then also when we're doing our capture the flags, or actually more of our pen testing, we're going to actually start going through um oh, what is it called? Uh, my brain just went blank. Like a few other platforms that, like I said, will be telling us about. Oh, I wish I could think of this off the top of my head. I didn't make a note on this because I wasn't going to think about bringing up this topic. It's um, it's about weights and telling us about how our attacks are done. When you daisy chain them, and this is when we do our scores. It's Uh, why is my brain not work? I'll come back to it. My brain will finally pop back up. Okay. Hey, this is why I need to eat sooner. When I get way too late, I'll start forgetting things. All right, so which one are we on here? Oh, yeah, so this is Juice Shop. It encompasses vulnerabilities from the entire OWASP top 10, along with many other security flaws found in real world applications. So, in that top 10, so we're going to have XSS, as you saw. We'll have multiple, like I said, many of the OWASP top 10 and many others. Okay. So if you look here, JuiceShop is written in Node.js, Express, and Angular. It was the first application written entirely in JavaScript listed on the OWASP VWA directory. The web application contains a vast number of hacking challenges of varying difficulty, where the user is supposed to exploit the underlying vulnerabilities. The hacking progress is tracked on a scoreboard. Finding this score is actually one of the easy challenges. And that's the other thing that we can kind of do kind of like some King of the Hill, which is kind of like head to head stuff. So therefore, it'd be just more like a challenge within, like on my Discord community, with those even on my students, kind of like, being able to say, you're king of the hill, right? Who was able to get first blood? Who was able to, get certain attacks and stuff, right? And then we can rank it on a score. So we can kind of keep like a little scoreboard. So again, it'd be similar like, like a video game, just trying to see if you can outscore the other person. And again, it's all this fun, friendly, competitive nature competition. I think it's always good. Keeps people sharp and all that, keeps people motivated. The next one that we'd have here is Security Ninjas. Security Ninjas is an open source AppSec training. So it's application security, right? This hands on training lab consists of 10 fun real world hacking exercises corresponding to each of the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. The hints and solutions are provided along the way. Although the backend for this isn't written entirely and is written in PHP, vulnerabilities would remain the same across all web based languages. So the training is still relevant, even if you don't actively code in PHP. This iteration of the course has been updated from the original version published by OpenDNS. It can be run self contained or as the hand on portion of a more complete training program. And it tells you how to run the lab and all that. Again, we've already got it set up in our virtual environment. The last one will be WordPress. Again, WordPress is a very known blog site or people host websites with WordPress all the time. Now, I downloaded this image until I actually found the Vuln Hub, and I was like, well, you know what? It's going to have pretty much the same thing. But we might try out both. I like this to check out different things. But if you look here, it tells us, say, welcome to the WordPress host server. The VM consists of a WordPress website, which is specially made for learning and sharpening WordPress enumeration and exploitation skills. The website contains 40 plus vulnerabilities which can compromise the security of the website. So again, we'll definitely play around with this. I think it'd be kind of interesting to see what the vulnerabilities are. We can try to find out as much vulnerabilities you can exploit. This time, our goal is not to get root, but to practice more. The difficulty is an intermediate level. If you need hints, you can go here. DHCP is enabled. If you're unable to browse the web page properly, then the host name, you just got to change that in your Etsy host files. So once we go over this VM, we'll check that out and stuff. So again, we'll be stepping all the way through this. So if you look here, okay, that was the OS top 10. This is the PDF that came with the VPLE. So that's why I said I think this would be another great resource. So again, if you look at our lab now, we definitely have multiple challenges to keep ourselves busy. And again, if I do think of some other things to add, we'll definitely add them to our lab. So our lab can always grow, 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 grow. And the great thing is, since you'll have yours set up, and after you practice on it, you get better, you can actually share it with other people that you may know are your friends. And now you guys can sit here and play. And if once you got your lab set up in my Discord, when we have our channels, you actually be able to sit and you guys can work on these labs together. So everybody's like I said, everybody will be able to share and learn different new techniques that they're using. So if you look here in this pen testing environment, it tells us again our default password and our default administrator word. And if we come here, then this is where it's breaking it down and it's telling you about the labs again. Okay. I just kind of already went through that, just showing you the websites, but they're going to give us a little bit more information. So it tells you how to use it. And again, once we start going through this VM, we're going to go through all the steps on what it's doing. So I say getting started. After virtual machine boots, log into the console with the username, administrator, and password. From the shell, you're going to run the hostname -I command with the IP address. The vulnerable web services. VPLE has deliberately vulnerable web applications pre-installed. The web server starts automatically when the VPLE is booted, which we've already got. To access the web application, opens a web browser and enter your URL, and you're going to type where the IP is. So in this example, VPLE is running right here at this web address. You would type that in. Browsing to that in your browser shows the web application homepage. So when you're in your browser, when you type that in, you'll be able to see the pages. Okay. So if you notice here, see, this is the damn vulnerable web application. So we would use our IP address. This is the port that we were going to put in your browser. This here's Matilda. There's WebGoat. And again, yours is going to be different. But once you find out the IP address, it's downhill from there. Like I said, the ports will all be the same. So 8080, 3000, these will match up. And then you can practice with whatever you want. You see here, there's the damn vulnerable web application, which I just spoke about. So it gives us information about that. You see over here, these will be the different types of attacks that we can do. So if you see here, we got brute force, got command and execution, we got CSRF, file inclusion, SQL injection, some blind SQL injection, some cross-site scripting, XSS reflected, XSS stored. You got some security from the damn vulnerable web applications, some information about your PHP and about, then you can log out. But again, a lot of interesting and fun challenges that we'll be able to explore. Here is Matilda. So again, now this is what Matilda looks like. As you see, it breaks it down into categories, and you can practice by what type of exploitation or vulnerability that you're wanting to practice on. So again, SQL injection, they've got some misconfiguration, sensitive data exposure. So you can break it down by the OWASP top 10. So again, if you feel like you're lacking in a skill, here you go. You can build yourself up, right? So if we come down to the next one, here's a WebGoat. This is what WebGoat looks like. A lot of these sites are very similar. The thing is, they will have different type of exploits. Some might even repeat themselves, right? But again, practice makes perfect, right? So again, rinse, repeat. And again, always learn different techniques. And the thing is, maybe you'll come up with your own different types of exploits. Be able to daisy chain exploits together. So again, if you can be as creative as you want, especially in a lab environment, that's what makes it great. Main thing is keep taking notes, right? Like in cherry tree or obsidian, whatever you want to take notes, but take your notes and share your journey. And that's again, and we're going to go back over talking about Hugo, our static site generator, and using Git and hosting it on Git.io. And again, it's all free. So again, we'll definitely be covering all that. And there's going to be some more information coming real soon on that for you guys. Here was the BWAP that we discussed here. You see, that would be the website right here. You see in our portal, you can do HTML injection. So you can pick the type of attacks that you want to do here. Oh, again, this is just a general overview of things to look forward to what we're going to be covering. Here's the OWASP Juice Shop. So as you see here, it looks like we're running a store, but again, you'll see there's different type of exploits that we can do here. I mean, there's several. I think you guys have really have fun with Juice Shop. The OpenDNS Security Ninjas. This one I've never really used, so I don't know that much about this, and so I'll be learning with you guys when we go through this. So I think it'll be kind of fun. And then here's the WordPress. So if you guys have never seen WordPress, this is the back end of a WordPress site. So the thing is, if you guys ever wanted to build your own WordPress site, well, we're going to be able to do it. The thing is, we're going to be playing with insecurities of it. So again, if you want to see how where the login page is found, right? How to sit here and brute force a password. There are plugins that you could use, like WordFence, which would be firewalls. How do we evade and get around these? So again, we're practicing for like real world engagements, but we're doing this in a lab environment. Okay. Because again, we're not going after somebody's personal WordPress. We're not sitting here trying to be malicious. Because one, we're ethical, and number two, that is illegal. And like I was mentioning yesterday, we are going to be going over some ARP spoofing, some ARP poisoning. So I'm going to show you some more attacks and stuff, especially going over protocols that we're going to be learning in our networking class. But I just want to let everybody know too that, again, all the information that I'll be sharing is for ethical purposes, okay? And we are doing this all in a controlled lab environment. Remember, lab environment. So it's okay to break and do whatever you want. You can go nuts. The thing is, we will not do is use any of these techniques in the wild on websites we do not have any permission to or access to, or networks that we do not have any permission or access to. And when I mean permission, I mean written, verbal. If you don't have it in a contract, don't touch it. Like I said, when we start doing some like DNS spoofing and all that, this is, I'm trying to show people this is what happens if you went to like a Starbucks or you go to like an open Wi-Fi network. These are attacks that can happen to you, like the man in the middle attacks. So I'm trying to show people how you can prevent yourself from getting hacked like this. But the thing is, there are going to be people that are going that could possibly do attacks like this, right? And they're taking advantage of people and they're being malicious. So the thing is, security is based on you, okay? I'm just trying to show you one, how to protect yourself and defend yourself against attacks like this. But number two, if you want to get into cybersecurity or you want to learn web development, web applications, if you want to get into pen testing, we're covering anything and everything in IT. So I'm trying to create the labs, get everything all set up for you guys. So you're going to get a little taste of everything. So we're going to get into, eventually we'll get into some reverse engineering. We're getting to create some like Android applications. We're going to get into some automation, AI and stuff. I know some people are probably thinking, hey, are we going to cover any AI? I want to get into some AI. The thing is, I I myself do not know. I know a little bit of AI. Okay. I mean, I work with it. Yeah. So I know Chat GPT and many other tools that we use. Okay. However, to sit here and say, am I a professional? Is that my skill set? No, it's not. So will we touch upon it? Yes. Now, the thing is, at that point, I would like to present it to you guys, but I will definitely be letting you know beforehand. I'll either read some articles and stuff so I can better inform myself on the topic, but I will always let you know this is something I don't do every day and I don't have that much knowledge. So I'm going to be learning along with you. A lot of this that I'm showing you and stuff, I've used this before. WordPress I've used multiple times. I've created my own websites and I can show you security. Okay. Now the thing is this my niche or my niche? No. Web development? I've created some websites. I've done stuff, but am I going to say am I a web developer or whatever? Not really. You know, I mean, I've done it. Just because you've done it does not mean that's the title you hold. That's not my profession. I don't go around creating websites all the time, right? When it comes to coding, am I a great programmer? No, I've never claimed to be an actual programmer. Can I run bash scripts? Can I write scripts for automation and things? Yes. Same thing like game development. Can I create something, maybe some Unity, or can I create some, I can create some little games, but then again, there's YouTube videos and I've watched instructional tutorial videos too. So yes, I've created some things, but to say, is that my forte? Is that my specialty? No. But that's one thing I'm just letting you know too. I'm a jack of all trades, okay? But again, master of none. I would say I'm intermediate on a lot of skills. When I say intermediate, beginning intermediate. Some people might say advanced, but I just know many people that are way light years ahead of me. And I would say, no, they're very advanced. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we're always learning. Okay. So that's why I don't like grouping people together, right? And trying, or just really putting labels on anybody. I mean, to really say, like, I mean, we get certifications and we can say, yeah, we're a network professional, right? Or we're an expert. Am I an expert at any level? No. One, I don't have any certifications to show that I'm an expert at any level. Now, the thing is, I think that depends upon the individual that you're talking to. Now, am I an expert? I don't know. That's some big shoes to fill. Because when I think of an expert, I'm thinking like you're a guru. Like everybody comes to you, you're like the oracle. Now, the thing is, I know people like even with CCIE, they're people just like you and I. Yeah, they're very knowledgeable, especially in the CCIE realm. However, even in the CCIE realm, one, most people don't need a CCIE, and if so, they're very rare. They're kind of like unicorns, right? And if you got one, you hold on to them very tightly. Thing is, though, the, the platforms and everything, the networks are growing. CCIEs are getting I don't even know if they're more in demand. I just know when I was starting out, CCIE was like the golden corral, you know? If you could become a CCIE and get that number, that golden number, this is in the networking world. It was like, you made it. You understand? You were like God. You now are going to be with the other Greek gods that now have their IEs. And I'm not gonna say it's an easy cert because it's not. I mean, it takes many, many years of sacrifice. And again, multiple times of failure. It's expensive. And we'll just say, yeah, I mean, I have mad respect. I have mad respect for anybody that gets certification. But yes, there are some certifications you're like, you got to be mad. The CCIE, I will say you have to be mad, especially I'm not sure how they've reformatted the exam now, but before, oh, it was horrible. I mean, there was prerequisites that you had to have before you could even take the exam. And then it's like I said, it's a 24-hour exam. You got to fly out to Texas to take it. I mean, it was just brutal. You get a little brown bag lunch. I think the exam was like what $1,800 or whatever. So imagine after you failed the test, yeah, you get a brown bag lunch. Yay. You paid $1,800 for a brown bag lunch and you didn't get the number. And many don't on their first attempt. And that's what I said. There's other certifications I could put up like CISSP. I would say that's a difficult certification to get. I saw there was I think it was a 24-year-old young man. He got his CISSP. He's very intelligent, right? Now, do I think a 24-year-old needs to do it's great that he passed the certification. He has no experience, though. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the young man. I think it's very, very impressive, especially at that age, to be able to hold that type of certification. However, there's book smarts, then there's life experience, right? And I'm just like, I don't know. I hope everything works out well for him. As an employer, if I was to hire somebody, I'm not just looking for the certification. There's a lot more to an individual when you hire somebody, right? I think we all kind of know that. You got the soft skills. Just you can have a buttload of certs, right? But at the end of the day, that's for HR. Nobody really cares about the certs. We want to know what can you do, right? Practical application. Can you implement this? One, can you explain it to other people? So when you got the other developers and engineers, can you speak their language? Can you use your soft skills to speak to the CEO or maybe any shareholders that aren't technical? But we need to know kind of what's going on too, but in every layman's day words, right? So you're walking a very tight rope, right? You got to wear a lot of different hats. So that's what I think of when you hire somebody. Are they a good fit? Do they got soft skills to speak to clients, right? Are they team oriented? You do got some people that are in the cybersecurity world or just in IT in general. They're not people, they don't get along with people very well, right? Their people skills, we'll just say, they're very introverted. And again, that's fine. However, it's good to know these things because again, I don't want to put you out in the front, right? I got you on the phone talking to clients and customers. It's like, yeah, you're not that guy. You're not going to close the deal. You're not one that's going to, win people over. You're the type of person probably needs to sit in the cave, sit on the network, and you just touch the wire and you watch a monitor. So you don't need to be touching, what to say, interacting with other people. And that's why sometimes it's a hard fit because again, if you especially if you've got a team, you got a whole bunch of personalities trying to get everybody to work. So I get it. It's very difficult. But hopefully, I'm also going to be able to touch upon that when it comes to skills and different things about just experience, what to say. Okay. So sharing the experience journey and all that. Um, there are a couple people that's come across my radar that I have found on YouTube, and I don't really want to mention names and dime people out, but I will just say there is this one gentleman that they say they've done cybersecurity, and again, I like to take everybody at their word, but I'll just say very questionable, very very questionable, and the way it's just the way they present information. And I told people before I wanted to put this person on blast, but the thing is, their channel's not growing. They're not giving any information that I feel is going to be beneficial for anybody for a career move. So the thing is, I don't even see the reason. The only reason I'm addressing this is for those out there that want to get into cybersecurity and want to take things seriously, always double check the content of the person that's presenting it to you. Now, again, this person could be a piece of crap. I don't know. They could be whatever, right? You don't have to like the person. Review their content. See if it applies to you and verify the information. Now, the thing is, when you see somebody presenting some information and they're showing you the fancy tools, right? And yeah, you could be a great web hacker, but all they keep trying to tell you, and again, I'm not going to say this content creator's name, but if they ever watch this video, I think they have a good idea who I'm talking about. They're an older gentleman. And the thing is, if they have a conviction of a felony, they have never worked a cybersecurity. So that I'm going to call them out on. Number two, even if you worked under a contract, you still would never have security clearances. So nobody worth their salt is going to hire a convicted felon to do cybersecurity work and give you security clearances. And then to say that you work for the DOD, that is a no go. That is called stolen valor, sir. And that is also called you're a fraud. All the information that you're saying is up in your mind and it's make believe. And for you to misguide other people, especially younger people trying to make a career out of this, you were completely in the wrong. And there are other people that are in the cybersecurity world. Yes, we get things wrong sometimes, right? But do not portray to be something you are not. So the thing is, if you know the information, that's fine. I'm not even saying you got to have certification. You don't even have to do this as a career, right? But do not misinform people and misrepresent yourself stating you work for the DOD and they, oh, you work on like, it's like people in the people who never served in the military sitting here trying to say, oh, yeah, I was attached to this unit and I did this and this and this. It's stolen valor. I do not respect anybody that does that. And the thing is, sir, in all respect and due to you, okay, I'm being very courteous and humble. There's much I would love to say to you. But number two, do not disrespect other people in the cybersecurity world or in this IT space that do try to give back to the community, make things better. And then you also got people that put in a lot of hard work, right? And that's why I love this community because people do give back that are very passionate about this. But then we get clowns like you, sir, that try to steal other people's information, try to represent it as your own. And then you want to tell people, well, they're never going to learn this. It's going to take you years and years and years. A lot of your information is incorrect. And this is what I'm trying to tell younger people. Double check the information. Same thing with me. Verify the information that I'm showing you. That's why I show you the websites. If I get something wrong, then please notify me. Hey, you actually got this wrong. I do not, I make mistakes as well. So if I'm misinterpreting something or I misrepresent something, I would hope, I want people to tell me that I'm incorrect. And then you can correct me of my ways because I'm not deliberately going out. But just after watching this man's videos, and again, people can watch whatever they want on YouTube. But I know if I was a newcomer getting into IT or any type of information security or anything technical in general or any job, and this person's going to keep telling me, yeah, well, you can work as hard as you want, and you're so negative about everything. It's the end of the world. AI is going to kill us all and it's going to take our jobs. There's no future. Why even try? And that, you're not dedicated. You just want to learn things right now. And nobody's going to help you. The thing is, people will help you. People helped all of us along the way. Yes, I did a lot just similar like him. I mean, we have very similar background stories. But to see here and just because of your bad choices, sir, you didn't make a career and you never could. And even if you could not hang with the rest of us. Because I'm telling you, you have made statements talking about you're this elite hacker and you're the only one that could do this. And nobody else is like you and blah, blah, like the most arrogant. The word, what's the word I really want to look for? A very, like a narcissist in a way, like very narcissistic. And again, just so people will know, again, not going to say your name, sir, but you know. One, you talk about pornography all the time. You sit here and say, yeah, porn and blah, blah, blah. And you got all these other little platforms and stuff. I don't understand how pornography and cybersecurity even correlate with one another. But in your mind, I guess it does somehow. And then you talk about Blender and you talk about using other programs. Great, that's fine and dandy. But the thing is, if you look at your name that you're using on the internet, it doesn't say anything about porn. And you talk about, oh, it's a journey. Yes, agreed. Cybersecurity is a journey. Life in itself is a journey. And it's about what you learn on that journey and the people that you interact with and you come in contact with. What I would like to do, though, is yes, I'm mentoring other people and I'm trying to show other people because, in some ways, I think your channel is going to die out and stuff because people are going to realize you're a fraud, for one. Number two, you're not motivating and you're not uplifting. And I'm not saying you got to give everybody a pat on the back and a good, hoorah, boys, let's go. But the thing is, if you're determined and you're passionate, you can do anything that you want in life. And nobody like you or me or anybody else is going to hold somebody back if they truly want something. Is it a lot of hard work? Yes. And a lot of these younger people, they're going to figure it out. But to sit here and keep telling them it's not going to happen. You're going to work at McDonald's. And if you're lucky, you might be even replaced at McDonald's by AI and blah, blah. Like, you're a doomsayer. That is not the way. And again, there's optimism and pessimism, right? I'm optimistic. Sounds like you're very much pessimist, but I get it. You live a miserable life, sir. You sit here and you talk about all this money you got. Anybody can tell by looking at your videos. You do not live any rich life. This money that you say you make, we all know you don't make. I really, really want to say your name. I really want to say your name. But anybody, all you have to do is Google search, right? And just look up anything about cybersecurity and maybe a journey with it and see if you might see this individual that pops up. And they are a newcomer channel. And the people would say, well, that's punching down. They got more subscribers than I do. I've only been around about a month. So me and this person started about the same time. And I've been doing YouTube way before that. Thing is, I would make different content, but again, it's for online students. Now I'm making it more public for other people to view and, hopefully come along with the journey with me. And I'm not trying to say I'm better than this individual. I'm a whatever. All I'm saying is we in the cybersecurity world, okay, it's a lot smaller. The circle's very small. And there's multiple groups of types of people you come in contact with. And agreed. In the hacker community, I know tons of hackers myself. Some that actually been to prison that's actually done some bad things. But to see here and try to say like, are people proud of their bad choices and decisions that they made? It was a learning experience, right? And people can look back on it. But some people's lives were completely devastated and ruined because of the choices they made. Now, a lot of them do work in cybersecurity now. But the thing is, they've redeemed themselves. What this man is sitting here talking about and stuff, it sounds like somebody that's miserable. They made some bad choices, and those choices did affect them for the rest of their life. And that's called accountability. But the thing is, to sit here and try to tell everybody else, well, you can do this and do this and do this. I hand out a challenge to you, sir. I will take my students and we'll give it 1 year. 1 year, because he's supposedly doing training too, right? I'm going to make a challenge. I will take my pupils and anybody that's involved in my classes, and as well as myself, and we will challenge you and your students, sir. But I'm challenging you directly. We can do any capture the flag. We can do any king of the hill, any hacking competition that you want. And the thing is, we can actually put some money up on it too. Winner takes all. We'll do king of the hill and we give it to a charity. Now, the thing is, since we're giving classes and all that, I would say we could give it back to our students, pay for certifications. So again, put your money where your mouth is. You make all this money supposedly. So what I'm trying to say is, one, if your content and you believe in what you're doing and that you're so knowledgeable, then again, a friendly internet challenge. And it's not no YouTube drama. It's not whatever. But he knows exactly who he is. The older gentleman that lives in Las Vegas and he does supposedly cybersecurity, and he's on a journey, and he likes to make porn or whatever it's called in whatever, some type of virtual reality porn or whatever in stories. And again, he's got a very small following. He's probably got about what 15, 20 videos. I could pull his YouTube up right now without me even saying his name. But the thing is, again, any newcomers who want to get into cybersecurity, be very careful of the people that you're listening to and the information that you're learning. At the end of the day, this person was like, oh, yeah, they're not going to charge. They're going to charge you for training. He's already said that in many of his videos. I haven't seen any of his training, but I can tell you it's going to be trash unless he's going to steal somebody else's training and present it as his own. The thing is, though, you can use my content, other people's content. There's a lot of free, great, awesome resources out there that you can listen to. I'm not saying mine's the best either, right? I do the best that I can with the skill set that I have, but I present my own way. His was always about all these stories about he did this and he did this and blah, blah, blah. And in his younger days, he did this. Guess what? Nobody cares. This is 2024. What you did in your past, there's a reason. Now, again, if you find this guy's channel, definitely watch his earlier videos. That's all I ask people to do. Watch those earlier videos. You're going to learn exactly what I think about this person. You're going to know why I'm saying what I'm saying. Listen to the comments that he's made and listen to his journey. It sounds like a great story. It's like, wow, this guy's been through a lot. And he probably has. But I can tell you that certification journey and DOD and all this other black ops stuff is it's make believe. It's somebody that's watched too many movies and thinks that there's some elite hacker. The same thing like people do in the military. Next thing you know, you were in the military and all of a sudden you're with SEAL Team 6. Yeah, and you took out bin Laden, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those black operations, they can't talk about it. Those types of people. And I'm not saying there aren't people that do that. There are, but nobody's going to go around and sit here and be like, well, if I have to tell you, I'd have to kill you. That's just garbage. It's make believe. And that's the reason this upsets me is that they're taking advantage of younger people who don't have the experience or knowledge. I think a lot of people realize, and even the older man, I don't think he realizes, a lot of the people who watch this video are trolls. They're trolling him. Now he'll sit here and go on about his information and all that. And then he can say, "Oh, he just don't like me," or blah blah. He had a Discord. I joined his Discord because I was like, "Oh, another cybersecurity enthusiast, right?" Or somebody who does it for a living. I was like, maybe I could help out in his community, but I just was just more out of interest. All of a sudden, he did. Now people can say, "Oh, I'm disgruntled." He kicked me and banned me. Why? I don't know. I really don't care. I've been doing this way before he's even done any of this stuff. And again, he is older than me. But at the end of the day, he was he didn't like that I was calling him out in his own community. He's misleading people, and I had a few of his people from his Discord actually join my community, and I'm having to correct and point out all these information that he's misleading people. And that's what I'm trying to say. He's a liability. I would not want to put his name down as a reference or I learned anything from him and stuff. It will hold you back from a job. So for any younger people, I'm just letting you know, or even if you are older and stuff, be very, very leery. And again, not just it could be me, it could be anybody on the internet. Do your homework, okay? Look into the resources and follow through it. If it's beneficial to you, that's great. If it's not, then move on, but don't waste your time, okay? I just wanted to give just a warning about content creators that are out there, okay? That some people, I don't know, they're just saying things to say things. So as you see here, this was WordPress. So you will see how to build a WordPress site and how to attack it. And we'll be able to do it all through the VM. And if we scroll down, that was it right here on the PDF. So if we come there, this would be the host server. This is where I was going to actually do some CTF and maybe go through it. Well, not CTF. I was just looking at some guides, so I'm bookmarking them. Station X, I'm starting to realize they actually got a lot of good articles. That's where I was getting some articles yesterday when I did some of my install. So again, I'm not recreating all this information, all right? So I'm using other articles I read. I'm breaking it down in video form and I'm presenting it myself, right? And then I'll fill in some extra information and tidbits that I think that are useful. And again, just my own way of presenting stuff. Because again, WordPress hacking has been around for ages. And again, most people, they're not, nobody's reinventing the wheel here, right? But we're just showing you different techniques. And also, I just want to see what their techniques are. I'll present some of them and then I'll present some of my own. So if we kind of look there, I want to be able to walk through this guide. So I think I might use some of this for my class. There's some other pieces that I was looking through that I was like, yeah, there's some other things I would like to add. If we also look here, um, Hack Tricks, another great website. So if you look here, they were talking about some WordPress hacking. And I'm trying to find things that are like 2024 because I haven't used WordPress in a while. There's a whole bunch of different plugins and stuff. So I just wanted to see some maybe general ideas on maybe other ways we can go around like hacking. Again, say this is showing like 2012, the PHP, this is the theme. And so it's just showing basic information, regular login and stuff. So a lot of this is going to be, repetitive information. But again, I think the articles will be useful. This here is this Bitnami package for WordPress, if you come down here, there's an OVA. So therefore, if you want to practice on just a WordPress site, you can actually get it here. And it's an OVA, and you can host it in your VMware. See? And then you just install it like normal. It's not very big. And now you get your own WordPress installation. The other ones that we were using, they're vulnerable. This one here is actually more for development. See, as you see here. The Bitnami Virtual Machines contains a minimal Linux operating system with WordPress installed and configured using the Bitnami Virtual Machine image. Now, what's cool is, even though you do get like this image and you will have WordPress to be able to use for whatever, you know, you'll be able to do it locally. You can design your site, whatever. And then, therefore, let's say you wanted to use this to create WordPress sites for clients, right? You can test them here. There's a couple other links I'll be able to share with you guys, and I'll go through in some when we're going through this. I'll show you some other ways that we could set up links to where people could log in locally to your machine. Again, so it's people that your clients that you're working on, all right? Therefore, they'll be able to see see their site. You'll be able to present it to them, and then they can tell you the changes they want to make, and you can change them right there locally on the fly. So if you want to have like a meeting with them, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. And then they can run through and you say, oh, so you mean like this, 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 and you can present it to them. So it's a great useful tool. So again, I'm going to show you like a business aspect on how you can use these tools. And then also it said from a security side of things. So again, everything's not always just the whole cybersecurity. So it's telling you how to develop, how to defend. But again, you need to know these things because again, if you are going to be a pen tester, you need to know how to break things. So you might need to know how do we create and design these in the first place, right? And how misconfigurations can happen. And if we come back here, this is the old way, and I was just going to show you guys this is an old way of how we used to set WordPress up locally. And as you see here, they're using XAMPP. You can do it locally. You can host a server, and this is dominantly used on Windows, but you can do it as well. But it goes step by step. You can do it on Linux as well. But we could go step by step. So I'm thinking I will present this as well because I want you guys just to kind of get a general overview of how we could do things manually and do it, how we can do it in virtual machines. I just want to give you a lot of different platforms that you're touching a lot of different things so you get more experience, right? From and just hands-on experience that you've seen this stuff or if you've touched it once in a while. So if you do see it out in the field, right? You're not gonna be like, "Oh, I've never seen this before. I don't know how this works." So therefore, we're going to build and test things. So again, we're not learning to be developers here. We're engineers, but we're going to learn basics and we're like I said, Git and automating things and all that. So again, I'm just showing you guys if you started from the beginning, not just this video, but you've been watching some of my videos, you're seeing how we're building out IT. Information technology is a huge field, right? So there's many, 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 many topics, and there's no way you can know everything. So I'm trying to give you, like me, where we're a jack of all trades. We're going to know a little bit of every little thing. And then you can hone in on what you truly enjoy, what you have a passion for. Maybe it'd be one or two, three. It could be multiple things. But I want you to focus in and zero on at least one thing and get good at it. Get really good at it. And that's what you can base your career on. But in the world that we live in today, everything is crossing over, right? When I say crossing over, they're bleeding over into different, especially AI, when we start talking about automation, networking, cybersecurity. Anybody that's in the field has now realized we got to know a little bit of it all now. This isn't back in the day when you just, oh, I'm just going to be a networking guy. That's all I need to know. Networking. Don't tell me anything else on it. That's not the world we live in anymore. It's like cross training. Everybody needs to be cross trained. Now, again, we're doing security. So our job is very, very, very important. Everybody's job's important, but security 100%. And the thing is, you're the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to financing and funding and all that. You're the last. Things are getting better because companies are realizing there's a lot of cyber threats right now, a lot of breaches, and they need a good security team. But at the end of the day, it's all of our responsibility to keep things secure. So if we look here, I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? No. Okay. So what we want to do here is we've already got this VM set up. So what I wanted to do here is I'm going to step away for a second. Can I turn my camera off? Uh, See, this is the thing. If anybody knows, I might have to even Google this because my cereal is getting really soggy. And I'm like, that's not going to be good. When I'm doing YouTube a live stream, okay, I'm doing it through the browser and I'm using the YouTube studio. And when you do the live stream, is there a way that we can manually turn the camera on and off without crashing the whole stream? 'Cause I'm doing a web stream, right? See, I know if I was doing this in OBS, then yes, I could easily do that. But for some reason, it says, like I said, when I got my webcam, I'm going to try this. If this does break, then I'm going to finish my cereal and then I'll put up another stream. And then I just want to do a little walkthrough of Symphonos 2. We're not going to go clicking through all the articles and stuff. I'm going to just go all the way through to CTF once so we can complete it and you can see how it's done. And then I'll go back over later and maybe even one of my other courses or something, and we'll cover the different steps and what everything meant. Okay. So again, it shouldn't probably take maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour tops. Because again, I'm not going to do a real super long stream tonight like I did last night. I'm a little still tired from that. That was like almost 7 hours. All right. So we're going to try this and see if this works. If the stream does crash, I will let you know. I will be back in like 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Okay. So I will, but you'll see a notification pop back up. So we're going to try this. I'm going to see. Okay, I'm going to stop my screen here. All right. And let's see. Can I turn the camera off from here? If I come up to my browser, I'm turning